Welcome to the Weigh In Podcast, your prescription for a healthier life, where wellness is more than just a number on a scale. We'll dive deep into not just weight loss, but the medical, emotional, and lifestyle aspects of well-being.
In each episode, we'll weigh in on hot topics ranging from diet myths and exercise trends to mental health and chronic disease management, providing you with the evidence-based advice to guide your health decisions. Remember, it's not just about the weight on the scale, but about creating a healthier, more balanced you. Hey, Katie, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm very happy that the weather has gotten a little better here in California.
Oh my gosh, no fair. It is like torrential downpour outside over here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, well, that's going to be us on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, fair.
But anyway, I watched the Oprah special last week.
Did you?
I did. And I really liked it.
Okay.
She had it was pretty fast and quick with everything that was, going on, but she had like really good snippets of a lot of things. So essentially she had like people that had experiences on the brand name Ozempic and Mounjaro.
Okay.
And how it changed their life. And then she even had like kids on it. She had a 16-year-old.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yep. She had like two 16-year-olds and their moms talking about their experience with the medication. Something that I wish they had dove into more was a mom who was just saying like, oh, I was totally against this medication and then somehow changed her mind and was all for it.
I'm curious about the somehow, like what changed her mind.
Yeah, for sure. She also had some doctors on it that were talking about the benefits of the drugs. And the reason why she ended up selling her shares on Weight Watchers is because she ended up having the CEO of Weight Watchers on the show.
Oh, snap.
And so she was like, well, I can't have conflict of interest.
Okay, Oprah.
Yeah, but I'm like, that's a pretty big deal.
That's a huge thing to have to
give
like
up.
Do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to have them as a guest on the show. Wow. Okay.
And then the most surprising thing, she had Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk sit next to each other. And they were talking about, they were talking about their drugs and stuff. And I thought that was really cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah. But ultimately what I gathered from it, it was a really good introductory way to get people to know these drugs and to like, I think it's to destigmatize, the medication because she also admitted she used it herself and it helped. And so I like that she also went over the side effects too, that they talked about. She even had a lady that ended up stopping because of the side effects. So I like that she had both sides. So yeah, really good special. It was only like an hour. I would watch it. Even for those who do like, such as me and you.
It's definitely on my to be watched list because I'm dying to see it.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was really interesting.
Anything interesting that you learned about last week or read about?
Well, I was just having fun reading about all this Ozempic baby stuff. So there's been all this stuff about Ozempic babies. It's been all over TikTok, in the news, even on TV, where basically a lot of women are coming forward and being like, hey, like I got pregnant on Ozempic or right after I finished taking Ozempic. And so now there's this thought like, does Ozempic affect fertility or not?
Right. Or were these women actively trying to have kids or no?
A lot of the stories were kind of, I tried so hard to have a baby for so long, and then we had kind of just given up, and then I accidentally got pregnant, like either on Ozempic or after taking it. So these were pretty unexpected pregnancies, at least for the majority of the stories that I was reading.
And were these women on birth control too?
So I think it was variable. I think in general, sort of something that everybody should think about or clinicians should make sure that they're teaching their patients is that semaglutide delays gastric emptying. So if somebody is on oral contraceptives, it's going to affect how they absorb the medication. In other words, if you are a female on semaglutide right now and you are on oral contraceptives, you may want to consider using a backup method of birth control. Something to think about. Okay. It is important. If you do not want to get pregnant, it's something that you might want to think about.
Yeah. But I know that's also good for some people, like, especially if they're obese or have PCOS. And I know some people use semaglutide because PCOS can cause obesity issues or overweight issues. So I think that's great if they can kind of, there's so many new things that we're learning about semaglutide and Ozempic and all these
Yeah,
drugs
for
that
sure.
it's great. So
I do. I think it's great. And I think the other piece here is, beyond the birth control issue that we just brought up, is that a lot of these hormonal imbalances or hormonal issues that women are having, they're being caused by their obesity or by being overweight. And when these things are resolved, when you lose weight, a lot of times those hormonal issues start to resolve themselves and thus your fertility can improve. So I think that's the connection that we're starting to see, which is really amazing.
yeah, well, that's spectacular. I also read something too about Ozempic or Wegovy now being approved for reducing the risk of cardiovascular disease. And so that's something that we've always known with semaglutide and
Mm-hmm.
these GLP-1s. I've like had some patients that told me, I was on blood pressure medication for, 30 something years. And after being on, GLP-1s, I can finally cut my dose or be off of it. And I was just
Yep.
like, that's amazing. So the only hard part is because, the medication's already such in high demand. Like now that, I mean, it's great that it's available to so many people, but the access to it is still so difficult. But again,
Yes.
just another
Yeah.
win for people.
Another win for people indeed. It's just a question of accessing the medication.
Mm-hmm.
For people that want like the Ozempic or Wegovy, getting access to that can sometimes be tricky. It sounds like, Novo Nordisk is working really hard to sort of resolve this, but agreed. It's like, ultimately it's a question of access. But yeah, so much cool stuff in the news. It feels like every week there's something else.
Today, we'll be talking to a current patient, Amelia, from the A-List Clinic about her weight loss journey on semaglutide.
But first, we're kicking off this episode with a fun game segment titled What Supplement Am I? Where each episode we describe a wellness or weight loss supplement briefly, and you, our listeners, guess which supplement we're talking about. Okay, Zarina, can you read this week's question?
This supplement is known for its ability to support metabolism and promote weight management. Made from a root vegetable that is often used in traditional medicine, it's also believed to have antioxidant properties. A. Berberine. B. Magnesium. C. Spirulina. D. Ashwagandha.
We'll answer this question at the beginning of our next episode. We'll be sure to post this question on social media after the episode, and we're eager to hear your guesses and thoughts. Please connect with us on Instagram or TikTok at The Weigh-In NPs, or drop us an email at contact@theweighInNPs.com. Your insights could be a game changer in our next discussion.
Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll dive into another supplement mystery. Remember, supplements can be a great tool when combined with a healthy lifestyle. Always consult with a healthcare professional before starting any new supplement regimen.
Both Serena and I are delighted to be affiliated with Thorne. For top quality safe supplements, simply visit our website, www.theweighInNPs.com, and click on the Weigh-In store to explore either of our vitamin shops.
I would love to introduce my next guest, Amelia. She was my first client at the A-List Clinic, and she's done wonderful. She's been on the program for, a few months, and she actually came back on. So excited to have her. She also works as a surgical nurse practitioner at a big, busy hospital, just being a badass, and, just, being her great self. She's also a vegetarian, so I would love to dive into that and talk about it. This is Amelia, and we'll be talking to her about her experience on semaglutide.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Can you kind of tell us, just like something light to kick things off with, what is like an off-limits food that you feel that, like, if you could eat one off-limits food without any consequence every day, what would it be?
It would definitely be the Reese's peanut butter cups, and not just the two that come in the pack, but multiple Reese's peanut butter cups. Those are my weakness.
Fair enough.
So could you just go back and like tell us your weight loss journey or your struggles with weight loss and how it got you to trying medication?
Definitely. So I used to be like 135, 140 for my whole life. And then I got a job as a night shift nurse, and I just gained a lot of weight from that. I went from like 135, 140 to 175. And then life had taken me for a little bit of a roller coaster ride, and I had moved and like suffered with like maybe like situational depression or something, and COVID hit, and I ultimately ended up gaining enough weight to reach almost 200 pounds. And my triglycerides are high, my cholesterol was high. I was overall feeling really sluggish and tired, and I was working numerous jobs, just finding it so hard to like wake up in the morning, just low energy, not feeling great. Zarina, when you opened up your practice and started taking on new clients, like I jumped right on it. I had heard of this medication through the grapevine at work, and I was interested in trying it, but I know that they were on back order for a long time. So you came into the industry at like a perfect time because the medication was available, and it was really life changing. I took the injection every week as prescribed, and we increased the dose as needed. But I went from nearly 200 pounds, like literally 198 was the most I've ever placed on the scale, down to 170. And that was in the matter of like 4 or 5 months. And I really wasn't necessarily eating super healthy because I was on the go all the time. But what was nice about it for me is that it made me hungry less often, which was also convenient for me at work. And then when I did eat, I would get fuller faster. So I would have leftovers to eat either later in the day or the next day, which again, in my busy lifestyle, like having leftover food and not having to cook something else was like a huge deal. I don't know what happened, but I kind of just got busy and stopped taking the injections. And I was actually able to maintain the weight, like even through the holidays. My weight has stayed the same, fluctuated maybe 2-3 pounds based on like water weight, but I weigh myself the same time every day, wearing the same stuff. And I've noticed that too, like when I'm eating at work or out with friends, I don't finish my plate usually at the restaurants, where I used to very much finish my plate in the restaurant. So it's nice, and it's stuck. And I haven't, I've gone through some very stressful times since losing the weight, and still have been able to maintain the weight off. And that's like what I really like. And now like I'm at a point where it's like, okay, time to get even healthier. A little bit more would be nice to like lose about 30 pounds again, get back to like that 140 area. So I got back on the injections recently. Been a little distracted, losing track of time, but getting things like in place to like really lose weight, but this time like incorporate healthy exercise and dietary changes and stuff like that.
And so, Amelia, just to kind of go back a little bit, sort of a common experience that a lot of patients have is those first 4 weeks that they're on the medication, where you're on that one low dose, and you don't necessarily feel all that much. Do you remember experiencing that? Because that can be a really frustrating time for people. They're kind of like on this low dose, and they're like, I'm not feeling anything yet. And how did you kind of manage that when you were experiencing that?
I think people just need to be patient with their bodies, and they probably do not, they probably make small changes and just don't notice it right away. Like for me, I just stopped snacking. I used to snack a lot in between meals, or like whenever I'd have a break, I'd go like eat something quickly. And then that kind of that became more noticeable to me. Is just, I think it's small changes that they probably just don't realize until it comes to like their full like portion meals, or frequencies of the meals.
Did you feel the other effects right away, like say the appetite suppression, like you felt yourself getting fuller faster and the cravings go away in that first month?
Yeah, so my intense chocolate cravings ran away, and I was really able to notice it during our like lovely time of the month when like chocolate cravings are on the forefront of my mind. So that was like one of those more like noticeable moments. It was like, oh, it's over, and I didn't want to buy like the whole Reese's cup like store, so that was nice. And then yeah, the appetite suppressant was pretty fast, definitely within a month. And then I think the like the portion changes like came either like with it or slightly after, but yeah, those, they stick, they definitely stick.
What was sort of that like
aha moment before you started that made you feel like, man, like it's time to make this way off?
You know, when I saw 198 on the scale, that like broke my little spirit a little bit. I've been like so career focused and stuff, just focusing on my jobs, getting in the hours, whatever it is. And I, just remember like kind of feeling not great. And I weighed myself and it was like 198. And I was like, this is not good. Doesn't help that my sis, well, maybe it does help, but my sister used to call me out on my weight a lot too, just concerned of my overall health. And she had visited me shortly before that and was on my case. And I was like, whatever, like I don't weigh too much or whatever. I stepped on the scale and it was 198 pounds. I was like, this is not good.
You're like, that's enough.
That's enough. It's like I'm going to go to my doctor soon. Like for my annual follow-up, my labs are going to be all crazy and I want to avoid those conversations.
Absolutely. So there's still some stigma sometimes related to weight loss medication. Did you tell people that you were on semaglutide while you were taking it?
Yeah, actually, I was, there's a lot of women, especially, and a couple men in my office and the surrounding offices that are on the injections too. And we kind of use each other as like support, when we go down for lunch, try to eat healthier choices.
I love that.
Yeah, and when people started noticing my weight loss around like the 10-pound mark, they would ask me like, what are you doing to lose weight? You're looking good. I mean, I'm feeling better. I refer them to my friend Zarina, of course. I'm not ashamed to say it at all. Like my lifestyle is very like challenging and we can take all the help we can get, I feel like.
I think that's awesome, and I think that's exactly how it should be.
Yeah.
Like all the stigma that has been surrounding weight loss medication, it's so nice to see you actually talking about this now.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, whether it's like medication or like bariatric surgery, just to get healthy when we're surrounded by like all this garbage in the grocery stores, all these preservatives, like all these food things, things they don't even allow in other countries. Like we need all the help we can get. And I think it's great.
What was one common weight loss myth that you found was not true, like for your own experience?
Yeah, it is kind of a tricky one because I wish that I did start making changes in my diet as well as like the injections. I think people think they can just kind of continue to eat whatever they want, even if it's like less than that. And I feel like that's not the case. Like you have to make dietary changes too. And for my patients, I always like suggest something small, like instead of eating like 2 pieces of bread with breakfast, maybe have one, like I think it's important to make like changes like that as well. Like the injections will do great job, but you'll see like more results faster and it's better for your body and overall health if you start incorporating like dietary changes too.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think some people think, oh, I could just take this drug and I'm just going to lose the weight. But yeah, if you're not putting in the work, like you said, you still have to exercise, you still have to eat healthy. So that's why you might have some people be like, oh, this didn't work for me at all. And it's like, well, you'll have to put the work too. So that's very important.
I think they can probably power through it too. Like at some points, like there's people that just feel like you have to eat 3 meals a day plus snacks, like that's not necessarily true. For me, it's easier for me to eat breakfast and lunch, and then I eat something really light in the evenings. I'm trying to improve my options there currently still, but it's always a work in progress,
Yeah, and to follow up with that, what's one healthy snack that you discovered and loved during your journey that initially surprised you?
I liked cucumbers a lot more than I thought. So I'll make a plate of like cucumbers and hummus and even like cherry tomatoes. And I can eat like a good amount of those and be satisfied. Like I thought, these are mostly like water vegetables, how great can they be? And I love them. It's like one of my favorite things. I usually add a pickle or 2 on there because I love my pickles. But, and it's good too because you feel full without like the bloat.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's something that people need to kind of realize too, that there's a lot of calorie dense foods that are good for you that can make you feel full. And, I think what you just described was amazing as a snack. So it's good that you're still implementing those changes, even when you're off the medication. That's probably why you were able to keep off the weight,
Yeah,
So
definitely, definitely. And I really focus, like, it can be hard for me to eat healthy, especially at work. There's not a lot of vegetarian options.
Mm.
I did start eating fish for more protein starting like last year. I'm still like adapting to the taste of seafood. But yeah, I mean, I try to like, find things that work for me and like stick with it. And sometimes, it goes off no problem. Sometimes if I'm extra stressed, maybe I'll add in a croissant with my breakfast sandwich or with my breakfast eggs and stuff. But I just try to be mindful of it.
Exactly. And I think part of having like a healthy diet is not fully eliminating foods, right? Because you're just going to want them more if you can't have them. So it's okay to have a
Exactly.
croissant sometime.
Yes, and I try to keep that in mind too, like, oh, I'll have like this Reese's cup for the first time in like a week and a half, I'm not gonna make myself feel bad about it. Or,
Right.
they always bring donuts to the nurse's station. I will eat a donut, like sometimes do I eat two donuts? I'm not gonna lie, yes I do. But I try to stick with just one.
Man, working in a hospital setting, it's like it's like they want us to gain weight. They always are giving us snacks. There's always a
Uh-huh.
party in the break room. There's always a
Yes.
potluck on main shifts.
Always the potlucks, always the
Always.
potlucks. And they're
yeah.
like, here, Amelia, eat, eat. And I'm like,
Yep.
oh gosh,
Yep.
I already did.
And so if you could go back to, just really go back in time to day one of your weight loss journey, what would you say to yourself?
Oh man, hang in there. Like you will lose the weight. I thought for sure there is no way. I was really discouraged. Like how can this help me? Like how will this work for me? Like I get stressed. I stress eat. Like I can stress eat through like the way the injection works, and a little discouraged, in the beginning, but it's really surprising like how effective it is. And I'm even actually really surprised that like I was able to keep the weight off too and keep like my portions smaller and the frequency of which I eat less. Like I thought those would change, and I thought I'll probably be on weight loss injections for a few years until my body adapts. But it's stuck with me, and I was on the injections for a few months and then I was off for a few months and just restarted. So yeah, because I'm just trying to get those last
Just
30 probably off or whatever's healthy. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you travel a lot, so like how do you deal with traveling and what do you eat when you are in a different, place? How does that work for you?
Most places usually have like, I feel like most places usually have fresher and more available foods for me. A lot of places now have like tofu and tempeh options, and just the amount of like fruit and vegetables like made available on like their menus even like are pretty significant. When I went to Mexico, I had like no problem eating things like slightly healthier. I had rice and beans, of course, sometimes. But like even like veggie fajitas, I'm sure they make it in oil, but you just kind of pat it dry with a paper towel to get some of that excess off. And, it worked out well. Smoothies you can find anywhere. Eggs are cooked the same everywhere. So it's just like looking at the menu and being like, oh man, this like really high calorie, high fat thing looks so good, but just being mindful that, it will hurt you later. Like it'll cause me pain later. So I don't
Mhm.
want that. But I do, splurge sometimes. It just is usually with something sweet.
And I know also work can be stressful for you. Like, do you typically meal prep, or do you typically just get things on the go?
So I get a meal card at work, thank God. So I usually eat at work. My breakfast is almost always the same because I'm the hungriest in the morning. Like that I've noticed. I'm the hungriest in the morning. In the OR, my first case lasts anywhere from like 4, 5, 6 hours. So like for me, that's the time where I kind of carb load. I'll have almost always, they have a breakfast sandwich or a breakfast burrito, obviously vegetarian, and then some form of potatoes. So I don't really get like a whole lot of vegetables in that department. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I feel like I should add some moving forward. But that's what I'll eat, and that'll satisfy me until lunch. And sometimes lunch is 12, sometimes lunch is 1 o'clock. And then lunch is kind of hard at work. There's not a whole lot of vegetarian options, but I'll almost always get the soup because the soup is really good. And the soup with some crackers will satisfy me. And then I get like a little side of berries or grapes, kind of depending on the fruit that they have in store at that time,
Amelia, I actually have a question for you. I
Yeah.
actually have had several people that work kind of in your particular department type is attached to patients, and one common issue that they all have is not being able to drink enough water, which is a huge thing when you're doing weight loss and when you're on semaglutide and they're like, I'm in the OR, I cannot drink water, and I don't have a solution for them. So please, if you have a solution to this dehydration issue that those of you that work in the OR have, please share.
You know what? I wish I did have a solution because I have the same problem. And for me, it's even harder because I can't take breaks like during the cases. There's nobody to relieve me of my job. So once I'm scrubbed in, I don't scrub out until like I've closed the patient. So I'm there start to finish without drinking any water. I try to time it, like, especially in the morning, like when I take my like vitamins and stuff, I'll drink a lot of water to where I can empty my bladder before surgery. And then by the time I'm done, I'm so thirsty that I'll drink a lot of water, and a lot, like probably like three little styrofoam glasses, not probably as much as you should, but and then I drink most of my water actually in the evening because it's really hard. But I think like for OR, like nurses or scrub techs, who get, their 15-minute breaks, 30-minute breaks, I would, try to load up on that and during those times if possible.
Like, do you have dinner when you go home?
So luckily, thanks to semaglutide, I'm not really even hungry anymore because I have a really full breakfast. My lunches are generally pretty full. Sometimes I get like a grilled cheese on like wheat bread, and then I'll add like the spinach, tomatoes, onions, avocados, stuff like that. They have hummus at my job, thank God, so I'll eat some of that as well. But I'm usually not even hungry, and I think that's because that's kind of how my body, like with the semaglutide, has kind of been trained in a sense, which I'm thankful for. But when I am hungry at night, literally my cucumber, cherry tomato, and hummus with the pickles is pretty satisfactory. Sometimes if I'm feeling like particularly hungry, I'll eat some pita chips, which are like kind of low calorie for chips. But I just portion them out because I think you can have 10 for like 80 calories or something like that. It's not terrible. So I'll do something like that. But I can't eat a lot of heavy food when I get home from work, like around 6 or 7, because then I fall asleep a few hours. Like by the time I get home, shower, relax, and then I eat, it's like I'll be asleep around like 9:30, and then I'll get GERD.
And one idea, you're not wrong. One idea is that sometimes I tell my healthcare worker clients is on your way home, if you can get in something like a light protein shake, sometimes that can help. Because I know after a long shift, as Doreen and I know, because we still sometimes work the 12, you just like don't feel like eating when you get home. It just feels like too much effort. You're exhausted.
Yep.
But again, you do want your body to still get nutrition. So sometimes doing something like a beauty protein shake on at home can help, and that way you can get home.
Yeah, no, I love that idea because I have like a fridge and stuff at work to be able to keep the milk in the shaker and then just pour the protein powder in and drink it on my way home. It's a 20-minute drive, so that's actually a really good idea.
Because, I get it. When you get home, you just want to go back or you just want to chill. Even eating feels like effort.
Oh,
you have a cucumber sometimes, girl.
It's a lot of chewing.
Like when I cut my cucumber, I cut the whole thing. Then I can't come back to cut it later. Forget it. I won't do it. It's bad.
I'm right there with you. Like, if it's not already cut after a 12-hour shift, it's not happening.
Oh, yeah. Definitely not. Definitely. Absolutely not.
So aside from work, like, what are your weekends like when it comes to food? Is it kind of the same regimen too?
You know what? It's interesting because on my days off, I usually don't eat breakfast. I'll usually take those days to like do activities, things that I need to do, like nail salon, whatever, this, that, the other thing. So I usually start my appointments early. And so then I just get up and go. So I don't really, it's funny because like I'll, fast until like, I don't know, 12, 1 o'clock or something. And then I'll be like starving, ready for lunch. And even though like I'm starving, I'm so hungry, whether I'm eating out or eating at home, it's usually eating out. That's also one of my weaknesses. I still don't eat like as much as I would have in the past, even under these starving conditions, which is like kind of nice too. So yeah, I just I eat out a lot. But I still try to make like healthy choices when I can, but sometimes like I just need the In-N-Out burger. I'm craving it and it's happening. But it's just a grilled cheese for me. Actually, it's not even a burger. But anyway, I try not to get the animal style fries. Sometimes I do. I'm human still.
Man, this In-N-Out that you guys have in Cali, Serena, when I come to visit you, I gotta find out because
yeah, that'll be the first stop.
everyone is like, you have to try an In-N-Out burger. I don't know what this In-N-Out is. Over here,
and they don't look
in
like much.
We don't have it.
Yeah, oh, that is true. That is true.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But it sounds like the burgers are bomb.
They're so good
to know.
Yes.
Good to know. And I do think that you touched on something important, Amelia, which I think that people want to lose weight. They want to turn themselves into this person, but they aren't, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if you're somebody who likes to eat out, you're not going to become somebody who never likes to eat out. I mean, maybe you will, but it's highly unlikely. I think that people have to be comfortable knowing what they're going to do and know what they're not going to do.
Definitely.
Some people are never going to meal prep. They're never going to do these things, and getting rid of some of that guilt, I think, is healthy on an emotional level, but it'll also help you make good decisions about food because you understand what it is that you're going to do and what it is that you're not going to do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love the idea of meal prepping. It's just for me, I can't eat the same thing more than like 2 days in a row. And I can't meal prep like enough in advance, like 2 meals to be good for the first 2 days and then the last 2 days and then whatever I'm going to do on Friday. So, meal prepping, I like the idea of it. For me, it's just in my weird habits, I don't like it. It doesn't work for me.
And it sounds like you don't have the time. Like,
yes,
you're so busy.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have time. But I try to like make time, especially for like, cutting my little cucumbers or like at least washing my cherry tomatoes before I eat them. But I can't, like, it's so hard for me to sit there and like cut all the vegetables and then cook and then eat and then clean. And it's like after that point, it's like an hour and a half. It's like almost midnight. Just kidding.
Yeah, grandma's got to sleep.
Grandma's got to sleep. I am definitely the grandma of my friend group for sure. What can I say? But I did actually just get this subscription to a food delivery service that has a lot of vegetarian options because I recently have been going through some like health issues actually, and my doctor just on Monday really emphasized the importance of like dietary changes and exercise and stuff. So I did that. So I'll be interested to see if that's like helpful too. So we'll see. I'll have to keep you posted on that.
Please do.
Yeah, it's great. Is that the one where they like send you meals and you still have to prepare it, or is it already prepared for you?
It seems like it's already prepared. Like they ask you, do you want your veggies cut? Do you need it? And they say their recipes usually take 20 minutes or so to prepare. And they say, oh, is that okay? Are you okay with a little bit more? And for me, I put like, that's like the max for me. So, there's a lot of like healthy snacks. Like I saw like one was a bag of pickles, so I was like, oh, okay. Excited about that guy. Cause I like my pickles.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I hope it works out.
I know, and I hope it tastes good. Please keep us posted. I need to know.
Yeah, and this, I did try another food delivery service in the past, but they just didn't have a lot of options. So although it did taste like okay, and I liked it, after a while, like I can't keep eating it. And this delivery service seems to have like over 1,000 recipes, especially for vegetarians. I don't know how I feel about fish getting delivered to my house, but maybe I can try that later, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think the hard part,
Mm-hmm.
I think the hard part about being vegetarian too, because I did it for like a couple years, but it's just some people, especially if they're vegan too, it seems like a lot of them is just a lot of carbs. Not to say carbs are
Mm-hmm.
bad, but because like you can't have meat and a lot of that is protein.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of it just seems very carby. So I could see why like people might think, oh, I'm vegetarian, I'm gonna be super healthy, but you
Mm-hmm.
can supplement that with a lot of bad food too.
1,000%.
Definitely.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so
definitely. I am a victim of the carb addiction for sure. I love my carbs. But there's a lot of like good options too. Like I have the Dave's thin sliced bread where like
oh
one
yeah, I
slice
love
of
that
bread
one.
is
Yeah, people
70
love that.
calories. And instead of doing like two pieces of bread, one with like an egg on each, I just put both eggs on the one bread and eat that. Like I do enjoy that. When I'm home and I have time, stuff like that, like easy modifications.
All right,
Tell us
well,
about a non-scale victory that you've had. I want to know. So, like, I know that like the numbers on the scale go down and we feel good, but we also know the feeling when we like sit into a favorite pair of jeans. Maybe it was a cute dress.
Oh,
So, tell us about like the first one where you were like, "I'm winning. I look cute."
I have to say, speaking of jeans, so I didn't wear jeans for like 6 years. I was leggings only because I've always been like a thick girl. I've always had like thick thighs, big little behind area. And jeans, when I was at my like height there, even when I reached like 170, 180 pounds, 190, like there's no way I would have ever thought about wearing jeans because they're just too restricting, too tight. I don't like them. But then when I had lost the weight, the 30 pounds and was down to 170, I think it was Old Navy having a sale. And I just went in just to see what's going on. I tried on a pair of jeans. The material seemed like softer or whatever. And I put them on. They look good. And I was so excited. So I bought my first pair of jeans and I couldn't even tell you how long. And then, wearing bodysuits, like I'm more comfortable in those. I used to think like, oh, I could never wear that. And even though, at 170, I still like, I feel so much better than I did, obviously, at the 200-pound area. And I'm excited to, just get down to really feeling like more comfortable in my skin too. And I'm excited. I'm getting my treadmill soon. I love to be on the treadmill. So I'm excited for that too.
That's awesome.
now that you've achieved this fantastic milestone, what's one thing you're excited to try to do or that you weren't confident about before?
I never really liked hiking and being out in the wilderness with people like, all energetic to be outside. I know, Zarina, you love to hike and we've gone on a few hikes, but huffing and puffing when like everybody else around you is breathing normally is very discouraging. So I look forward to like getting to a point, like especially now that I have my treadmill coming to where like I can go outside and enjoy the beautiful day and a beautiful like hike with my friend and not feel like I'm gonna pass out like 5 minutes into it.
Yeah, I am known for doing some crazy hikes, but then I also read the room. I don't want to like be
Oh
carrying my
man.
friend like down the hill.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna do no like half dumb craziness, but just going outside. There's so many beautiful things in LA. Like I haven't hiked the Hollywood sign. I feel like that would be cool, especially since I've been in LA for like 12 years at this point. Haven't done it, just like that. And even like, I mean, I think that will help like when we travel too, we went to Costa Rica and did hikes every day. I almost died every single day. And instead of being like, focusing on not dying in my breath, and be able to enjoy like what surrounds me. Like, I feel like that's going to be really nice.
And I think exercise is so important in doing this program because like we want to make sure that you maintain your muscle mass. So even just walking helps a lot. And so it's great that you're doing the treadmill and trying to do other activities to encourage that. Cause like, yeah, going to the gym can be really boring. So I totally don't blame you.
I've never really been a gym person. I know they say like, oh, nobody looks at you when you're exercising. I look at everybody when they're exercising. So there's
Me
no
too.
way nobody's not looking at me. And my form is probably incorrect. I just get too self-conscious in those areas. So I actually bought like a little dumbbell set, and I have this program online to start doing like even weightlifting stuff. Eventually, it's not like 300-pound weights, but just start slow and see how it goes, I guess.
Oh, that stuff adds up. Like when you do reps of, I don't know, 5 pounds, 3 pounds, and they have you like keeping your arms up for like 10 minutes. Yeah, I struggle.
Yeah,
And the strength training is really, really important to your weight loss training, to your weight loss as well. Definitely like continuing to have the strength training be part of your program is important. So I think that's great.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, this has been super fun. It was so nice getting to chat with you.
Yeah, you too.
And getting to get
so
to
nice
know
meeting you.
Yeah, thanks for coming along. We're so excited that you were my first guest. I mean, first client, now my first guest. So
yes,
well, when I get to my goal weight, we're gonna have a whole nother thing. Yes. I have before pictures, and I'll take after ones too.
Yeah, for sure. We would love to have you come back. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast, give us a rating, and share it with your family and friends who might find it helpful.
And remember, we love hearing from our listeners. Connect with us on our social media channels or shoot us an email with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future topics. Don't forget to check out our website, www.thewayinNPs.com, and to follow us on Instagram at thewayinNPs.
If you need one-on-one help with your weight loss or wellness journey, book a private consultation with us. The A-List Clinic can be reached at www.thealistclinic.com or on Instagram and TikTok at The A-List Clinic.
And my clinic, Lifefire Weight and Wellness, can be reached at www.lifefireweight.com or on Instagram and TikTok at LifefireWeight.
Thanks again for tuning into the Weigh In Podcast with your hosts, Katie and Serena. Until next time, take care and be well.
The information in this podcast is for general information only. It is not intended as medical advice and should not be relied upon as a substitute for medical consultation with a qualified medical provider familiar with your medical needs.